Welcome to the Arun Church podcast, where our mission is bringing life to everyone, everywhere, every day. Each podcast episode features the latest talk from our church, which are released weekly. We're passionate about Jesus, love to worship together, and are committed to changing our community for the better. Connect with us at arunchurch.com. So, hello everybody, happy Mother's Day. I know that for some of you, Mother's Day is a difficult day for all sorts of reasons. And we stand together, but we also celebrate mothers and women here today. And we're so grateful for you and everything that you bring. So when I was thinking about this talk today, I really felt that I needed to speak about Hannah. Not necessarily because I wanted to. Hannah really struggled to be a mum. But I felt like this was the thing that God was putting on my heart. And so we're going to talk about Hannah today. Now this week, I went to my Auntie Mary's art exhibition. Here it is. Is it up here? Oh, here we go. This is my Auntie Mary, everybody. She is an absolute legend. She's my dad's sister. She is really, really fun, okay? Auntie Mary does like these beautiful pictures. I wasn't anticipating showing these pictures, so I didn't put the pictures up, if you see what I mean. But you can see a bit of the pictures behind. I asked Poppy and Rowan if I could put them up there, so that's fine. So anyway, we went to this exhibition, and my Auntie Mary, everything is colourful, really, really colourful. And all of her pictures are really colourful. And I asked her about some of them. And one of them, I think this one here, do you see, is it? No. It's that one there, has got like, that one's called COVID, right? Do you see like those little COVID things like in that one behind Mary's head? So, anyway, I said to her, we asked her, why did you paint this? And she said, in a time where things were really, really dark and things were very, very challenging and I had a lot of fear in life, she said, I decided, what was I going to do? What was my response going to be? And I decided to paint beautiful colour into that season. And there's the moon. It represents the moon in that picture. You can't see it, but you can, in the corner. The moon in it is like everybody was under the same moon, experiencing something really difficult. And so she was telling me about this. And then I thought, it's a little bit about the story of Hannah, because Hannah, she went through something incredibly difficult, incredibly painful, but there were some amazing things that happened because of it. There was some colour, there was some life brought into it. So I wonder if you could read with me. It's going to be up on the screen as well, but it's 1 Samuel. It says, 1 Samuel 1. There was once a man who lived in Ramathaim. Now, there's a lot of tricky words in this, all right, that I'm just going to confidently say, all right? I don't know how to pronounce them, so I'm just going to confidently pretend I do. So anyway, he was descended from old Zuppah family in the Ephraim Hills. His name was Elkanah. I'm not going to read that next bit. He had 2 wives. The first was Hannah. The second was Peninnah. Peninnah had children. Hannah did not. Every year, this man went from his hometown to Shiloh to worship and offer a sacrifice to the God of the angel armies. Eli and his 2 sons, that name, served as the priests of God there. When Elkanah sacrificed, he passed helpings from the sacrificial meal around his wife Peninnah and all her children. But he always gave an especially generous helping to Hannah because he loved her so much and because God had not given her children. But her rival wife taunted her cruelly, rubbing it in and never letting her forget that God had not given her children. And this went on year after year. And every time she went to the sanctuary of God, she would expect to be taunted. And Hannah was reduced to tears and had no appetite. Her husband, Elkanah, said, "Oh, Hannah, why are you crying? Why aren't you eating? And why are you so upset? Am I not worth more to you than 10 sons?" Whoops. So Hannah ate. She pulled herself together, slipped away quietly, and entered the sanctuary. The priest Eli was on duty at the entrance to God's temple in the customary seat. And crushed in soul, Hannah prayed to God and cried inconsolably. And then she made a vow. "Oh God of the angel armies, if you take a good hard look at my pain, if you quit neglecting me and go into action for me by giving me a son, I'll give him completely, unreservedly to you. I'll set him apart for a life of holy discipline." And so it happened that as she continued in prayer before God, Eli was watching her closely. And Hannah was praying in her heart silently. Her lips moved, but no sound was heard. Eli jumped to the conclusion that she was drunk. He approached her and said, "You're drunk. How long do you plan to keep this up? Sober up, woman." And Hannah said, "Oh no, sir, please. I'm a woman brokenhearted. I haven't been drinking, not a drop of wine or beer. The only thing I've been pouring out is my heart, pouring it out to God. Don't for a minute think I'm a bad woman. It's because I'm so desperately unhappy and in such pain that I've stayed here for so long." And Eli answered her, "Go in peace. And may the God of Israel give you what you have asked him. Think well of me and pray for me," she said. And she went away. And then she ate heartily, her face radiant. Up before dawn, they worshipped God and returned home. Now, this story continues in the most amazing way. She actually does have a baby, Hannah, and her baby is called Samuel. So she has this baby, and it says, if you read on, it says that she brought the little boy up till he was weaned, and then she took him, just as she had promised, just like she had promised before God that day. She took him to the temple, to Eli, to live in the temple for the rest of his days. He was a little boy. She took him there. She let go of him. She sacrificed that son to go and be in that temple. And he worked in that temple. Samuel turned out to be there's 2 books on him, turned out to be the most amazing prophet. He was the most amazing prophet of his time. I'll go on to how he was amazing as a prophet in his time, but he was pivotal. And he heard from God. You may remember the story where he is lying in bed and he hears, "Samuel, Samuel." And he goes to Eli and says, "What do you want, Eli?" And Eli says, "Well, I haven't called you." Then he goes back and hears it again. "Samuel, Samuel." He goes to Eli. "What do you want, Eli?" He said, "Listen, God's talking to you. Next time you hear that, say, 'Speak, Lord, your servant is listening.'" And so that's what he did. And Samuel listened to God and did amazing things. In fact, Samuel was the one that anointed both Saul and David as king. Samuel was pivotal. But this is Hannah's story. Hannah's story. So Hannah, in the most amazing pain, Hannah couldn't have children and was in tremendous pain about that. There were 4 things that happened to Hannah. Number 1, Hannah felt that God had made her struggle like that. It says, "God has not let me have children. God has stopped me having children." Now, I find whenever I read the Bible, we should read the Bible together and we should wrestle with those things that we read together. Did God really stop Hannah having children? Is that what God is really like? Does God let some people have children and some people not have children? Or was it that God allowed that to happen to Hannah? He didn't make that happen to Hannah, but he allowed that to happen to Hannah. Is that what happened? The thing I would say to you is Hannah believed it was God who wouldn't let her have children. First of all, she thinks God is against her in that area. Secondly, whoa, Hannah's got a rival wife. Anyone else got a rival wife in here? Anyone? Well, she had a rival wife. And the rival wife, whoa, she wasn't that easy, was she? I mean, she didn't say, oh dear, poor Hannah, that's sad about you. She taunted her. Have you got anyone in your life that taunts you in your pain? It might be very, very subtle. It might be far removed, but she was taunted, Hannah. She understood that she was in pain. She felt God was against her, and this wife was taunting her as well, saying, you can't have children. And then, not only did Hannah have that, she had a very insensitive husband. Her husband, the person who loved her the most, and it says, oh, Hannah was loved by the husband that she had, absolutely loved. But just a tip here, everybody. If somebody is in pain, right, if somebody is struggling with something, perhaps don't say to them, you got me, I'm better than 10 sons. You got me, haven't you? What are you worried about? That's what Hannah's husband said to her. You've got me. Don't worry, Hannah. You got me. I would really advise all of us in this room to never say that to somebody, okay? When somebody's in pain, don't say, well, you've got me. Never mind you lost so-and-so. You've got me. It's a little bit like when Tim this week said to me, here we go. Tim this week said to me, the shirts downstairs, are they ironed or not? Because I never know. Yep, that is what he said. The shirts downstairs, are they ironed or not? Because I never really know. So I said, to be really honest with you, I'm hopeless at ironing. So he has got a point, all right? But anyway, never mind. You shouldn't say that, all right? If somebody's doing your ironing, however bad it is, don't say that. Tip for us all. And don't say, well, never mind, you haven't got any children, you've got me. Don't say that either. And then Hannah had a priest that was meant to be the man of God, the person that looks after you, meant to be looking out for you. But what he misunderstands her. He thinks she's drunk. She's weeping with inconsolable pain, and he comes in wanting to chuck her out. You must be drunk, Hannah. These are not great reactions, everybody, for someone in pain, okay? It reminds me a little bit of talk about people going to help other people. That's one of the things I meant to do, and I really tried to do that. But once I went to Rosemary Cartledge, I always remember this, in her, like, she was in her home at the time. She's still there. She was very, very unhappy. And I can remember talking and listening to her. And she said, she was talking about not having much food. They don't, at tea time, you just get this, and this. And so I can remember just saying to her, first of all, I really listened, and I was, talking about things that were going on with her. And then I said really, really stupidly, have you ever said a stupid thing to someone who's in pain? Well, I have anyway, and I did. And I said to her, well, Rosemary, maybe you could get some biscuits. Because she was saying that she didn't have, very good tea. So I said, maybe you could get some biscuits. And she said, Becca, if it was only that simple. And we laughed and laughed together, to be honest, because I had stupidly suggested that she had some biscuits when this whole thing is going on in her life, which is so difficult. We can say the wrong thing. We can be insensitive. And this priest, he didn't understand what was going on with her. So anyway, she has all these things going on. Now, I was thinking, when we think about what happened with Hannah, there's so many times in the Bible, aren't there, where people get tested. Does God test people? Was this a test that Hannah went through? What do we think about God and testing? and sometimes I'm like, God definitely isn't somebody who stands afar and says, oh, here's a test for you. Hope you pass it. God is not like that. He doesn't tease us. He doesn't play with us. He doesn't play with our emotions. But sometimes things happen. And those things that happen do refine us, don't they? I mean, all the way through the Old Testament, we have people talking about being tested. We have Abraham and Isaac. He was tested with his son. We have passages that talk about gold, like refiner's fire. Your fire is refining me and bringing out the gold in me. So we have some context for God's testing. But we've got some passages up here. But a test is not a trap, okay? God does not trap you. There are some times that we do feel tested. A test is a procedure intended to establish the quality, performance, or reliability of something, especially before it's taken into widespread use. So a test is something that sometimes we go through. It's not like God tests. God is like, looking down and giving us a test. But we do go through things where we are being refined and the gold is coming up. It's only in the heat sometimes that the gold starts to come up. And I know that many of you have been in the fire in your lives and there is gold that starts to come up and rise up in us. Jesus was tested with the temptations. He went into the desert and he was tested. And it says he went in with the Holy Spirit and he came out in the power of the Holy Spirit. There was an authority that he had because he had gone through something. And often there is an authority that God will give you because you go through something. Because you have gone through something, it gives you the ability to see better into what is going on in somebody else's life and to speak with authority in that. And so God, sometimes there are tests. It says in James 1 here, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because the testing of your faith produces perseverance, and let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask. And so it talks about how, here, James is telling us to consider it pure joy. Who else do we honestly do that? I mean, I sometimes feel like I'm going through it, but I do not think. I consider it pure joy, God, that this is happening. That is another level, but I think it's another level that God invites us into. I think it's another level of surrender that God invites us into. And then it says in 1 Corinthians 10, no test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. He'll never let you be pushed past your limit. He'll always be there to help you come through it. What an amazing piece of scripture. What an amazing promise. He said, I will never let you be pushed beyond your limit. But I have to be honest, sometimes I have felt, God, I am pushed beyond my limit. And even more, I have seen other people that I think, God, that is pushed beyond their limit, God. But God says, I will not push you beyond your limit. I will be with you. And so here we have Hannah in this most incredible time. Hannah did two things. She did two things in the face of her pain and her agony where nobody else was really noticing or helping. First of all, she went and she poured out her heart. She went to God and she poured out her heart, her grief, her anguish, her fear, everything in her. She poured it out. In fact, she poured it out so much that Eli thought she must be drunk. She must be completely off her head. She poured it out. And I want to encourage us today and say, God invites us to pour out our hearts. What? Don't you think that's amazing? the God of the universe, the God who created us, the God who loves us, he says to us, come and pour out your heart, both in the good times, in the times that you are riding the wave and going and thankful and full of joy. In those times, pour out your heart. And in the times that you are grieving and that you are sad and that you are struggling, he says, pour out your heart. Pour out your heart like water. What a privilege. What an amazing thing that we can come to our Father and pour out our hearts. It says, he is the most amazing counselor. He is an amazing counselor. He is your Father. He loves you like a mother would love you. Faithful, sacrificially, running after you, loving you. And that is the person you can run to and pour out your heart. Hannah poured out her heart. The invitation to pour out your heart to God, don't dismiss that. Don't think, well, that's not for me. That is an amazing opportunity to get healed, to connect with God. Pour out your heart. And then the second thing I want to say is, wow, Hannah knew how to surrender, didn't she? I mean, when I look at this story, one of the things that disturbs me about this story, I suppose, is that I think if I couldn't have children, would I have said to God, you can have, I'll have children, then I'll take him to the temple. I mean, that would have broken my heart to do that, to have been given a child and then to give that child. That is surrender beyond what I can completely comprehend. She surrendered in the most incredible way. Her surrender didn't just change her story, which it did. She had other children after she had Samuel. I think she had 5 other children after that. Let's not go away and think, oh, well, that's all right then. Let's not think, oh, well, that's all right. She had other children. Can't have been as painful. Of course it was painful. After she gave her child away, of course it was painful. Of course it was painful every time she saw him. Of course she realized the sacrifice. Let's not run away with a glib story. Of course it was an incredibly difficult thing for her to do. She sacrificed and she surrendered to God in the most incredible way. I just think, is there another level where we come before God and we say, we've given you this much, but we want to give you more, God? You know, Samuel, he was a very, very important person in that time. Because what happened with Samuel is, if you look through the Bible, there's the book of Judges, okay? The book of Judges is all about leaders. They were like tribal leaders, and these leaders were leading Israel. And there were lots and lots, there were many of them leading Israel. And then what happened was, when Samuel was born, he started listening to God in a very fresh and new way. Think of Samuel as a hinge. He was a hinge prophet. He was a transitional prophet. There was this time where the judges they were being led by the different people, lots of different leaders. And then when Samuel came, he started speaking the word of God. And what happened was Saul, the people of Israel, went from being led by many people to being led by one person. And that was Saul. And then Samuel's the guy, it didn't work out great with Saul, but Samuel's the guy that when he went to find the new king, he went and David was in the fields, wasn't he? And nobody thought that David was worth anything, but Samuel listened to God. And it's because of Samuel listening to God that David led. That it's because of Samuel listening to God that David became king. That's how it happened. Samuel was absolutely imperative. So by Hannah's surrender, we're not only seeing Hannah's story change, but we are seeing the world, the nation, the God story shift and change. Because of her surrender, we see not only that story changed, but the whole big story. Samuel became all that he needed to become. He was an amazing prophet. So what does it mean for us to surrender? Sometimes I think, I haven't even begun with surrender. I still, when I look at Hannah, I think, I don't know. When I look at all the people in the Bible, their surrender to God, it was amazing. Jesus' surrender. It's absolutely breathtaking when you think about what Jesus did for us and his surrender. It's breathtaking even when I think about, sometimes we can think, well, that was Jesus. He's the top guy. He's the best. But what about the disciples? Most of them died. Well, what about if we were going to die for our faith? I think I'd think, oh, God, you're not going to push it that far, are you, God? You don't want that. You want my life? What about that people gave all sorts of things over to God and saw an amazing thing happen? But sometimes I think, oh, God, he's not really asking me to do that, is he? That's far too uncomfortable. That's far too difficult. That's far too much near my limits. And God says, what does it mean for you to surrender? What does it mean? I tell you what, when we were singing that joy song, I mean, we haven't got a lot of joy, to be honest. Do you when I think we're not like grasping hold of that joy, really. We're not surrendering even when we're together completely. What does surrender look like? Surrender in our worry. Have you, the things that you worry about, the things that you are going round and round in your mind, are you surrendering them? Are you surrendering your finances, every penny that you have? What do you feel about that? Is that what do you feel about your money? Is that living in complete surrender? What about your relationships? What about my relationships? Am I surrendering in those relationships? What about my future? Do I surrender to God? Sometimes the things that I find really difficult in my life, what I try and do is and I am in no way saying that I want to surrender and I want God to have completely everything. But I'm not deluded in thinking that that's actually what I'm doing all the time. I will get up and I'll think, I'm worrying about this. I need to surrender it to you, God. And I'll actually go through in my life. I'll say, this is heavy on my shoulders, God. I give it to you. I surrender it to you. I'm finding this difficult, God. I surrender it to you. What does surrender look like to you? What does letting go? We're in a season where we think about Lent, and what does letting go mean? Let's have the worship band. I wonder if you could come on up. But Hannah's surrender changed a generation. It not only led to her story changing, but to participating in the huge story of God. Let's just close our eyes, shall we? For some people here, I feel like surrender, some people you don't know God. And, you do know God. You've started a relationship with God. But I feel like for some people, you're like, yeah, I just need to take that step and say, God, I want to follow you. For some of us, there's an awful lot of pain in our lives. God invites us to pour out to him, give to him. I feel like there's two things that God is saying to us, and this may be relevant, both of them or one of them for you. One of them is, I'm inviting you to pour out your life. I'm inviting you to come and tell me the things that are troubling you and hurting you. And there is a fresh invitation where some people have felt distant from God and like God's not really there. I believe that God is saying, for some of you, the invitation is, come and pour out your heart. Come and sit with me. Come and pour out your heart. And for some of us, there's a different invitation, and that is, what does surrender really look like for you? Is there something God is asking of you? That is something that maybe you think, I just don't know if I can either do that or give that to you, God. It might be in the area of finances or relationships, your future. I feel like there's a lot of stuff around future that God says, this is too much for you. Surrender it to me. I mean, it's simple in many ways. Give it to me. You know that thing that you're worrying about in your future? Here, I'll carry it. I'll take it for you. And for some of us, God is calling us to a new level of surrender. A new level. As I was planning this, God spoke to me about three people in the... There's three people I know who are called Samuel. There's Sam Archer, there's Sam Hills, and there's Sam Watson. And I don't know if you're all here, I don't even know, but I felt like God say, you guys are hinges from you're transitional people that will speak out. You don't even know the prophetic things that sometimes you hold, but you will speak out and you will take people from one place to another. Because you listen to me, you will speak out, you will speak and listen and hear what I'm saying, and you will take people from one place to another place, just as Samuel did. And if your name's Samuel here, then you take that as well. But I just felt that for you guys called Samuel. Let's just listen to what God is saying. If you're in pain today, God says, come pour your heart out. And invites us to another level of laying down our lives. I would really love to pray with people. If any of those things are either what you feel or that, if God is asking you to lay down your life to a new level of surrender, I wonder if you could just come down here and just kneel at the front. Just do that now. If God is saying to you, I'm asking you to surrender again, I wonder if you could just come down. If you can't kneel, you could just stand. That would be fine as well. Just give a bit of space for you if you want to respond. okay for others, God says, come and pour out your heart. If you want to respond to that, if you just want to say, God, I just need to come and kneel and pour out my heart to you, then please feel free to do that as well. There's more people that need to surrender. I know that this is difficult because I know also that some of you are feeling like, I can't give more. I just can't. I'm finding it so difficult life anyway, and you're asking me to surrender. I can't. And I feel like God is saying, that's the key though. That's the key. That's what's going to bring you healing, though. That's what's going to unlock what needs to be unlocked. So I don't want to move on and miss an opportunity for God to move with us. I mean, if you just want to come forward and just kneel because you just want to kneel, then and respond before God, then do that. So, Father, I invite you, every person, every heart that has come before you right now. I just pray right now that you would bring your complete peace, your complete restoration. I pray, God, that every heart that says, God, you can have it all. You can have it all. You can have it all. I pray, Father, that you would come close. That you would come close, that you would take each one by the hand and lead them where they need to go. I just pray the blessing of God on your hearts and the blessing of God on you for humbling yourself, saying, I will go where you've asked me to go, God. I lay down my life afresh and again for you. So just pray the blessing, the joy of God upon you. Josh is going to sing, we'll sing together, but you just stay where you are if you're kneeling and just spend this time with God. Let's just spend some time with God.